Hey Carl, do you want to come to my party?
Welcome to Can Angels Fly. My name is Nancy, and I'm here to continue my 2021 yearly predictions. For this video, or during this stream, I will only be dealing with the month of September. I may even come back and make a part 2 for September. I'm not quite sure. At this time, I like to apologize for the windy sound. However, it's very, very warm where I am, and so I got to have some air flowing. Try to reduce the noise. Hopefully it won't be as loud. If you're ever interested in ordering your own personal tarot reading, you can do so by contacting me by email. My email is canangelsfly1@gmail.com. All the details that you need to order your own personal tarot reading is below this video. Time marker is 8 minutes. I like to put the time marker in. So, put a timestamp in, rather. Put the timestamp in. Timestamp 9 minutes at the 9th minute. Kind of confused here. I think I'm confused. Let's see. Oh. Let's see. Something seems off. What's off? Let's see. I was going to start at 9 minutes. I guess I have to change that timestamp. Go here. Something looks weird. I don't know. I can't see what it is. Okay, well, this is how I go about. Okay. Guess that was right. I'm confused. Something doesn't seem right. Okay, at this time, I'm gonna do a sound check. That doesn't seem right. Okay. At this time, I'm gonna do a sound check. No. Something's not right, but I don't know what it is. Okay, so I'm gonna just move forward. I'm gonna look at one more thing before I begin, y'all. I actually got another window open. Something is not right. I don't know what it is, but I've gone to just the YouTube homepage and I clicked on live. I guess only very specific people they allow to be on live. I only see four channels that's live, and at least 3 of them are, you know, big name brands or channels, news channels, but I don't see any just everyday folks on live. But I am live. Today is August 25th, 2021. It is now 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've also clicked on the tab of tarot, and I don't see myself anywhere in the tabs on the tarot, even though I'm live. Okay. How about this? What if I type my own channel name in? Will it show? It does show that I'm live. Isn't that nice of them? Really nice. Okay. It does show that I'm live, so. So, yep, I'm going to have to change that timestamp because it is actually, what? 13 minutes 9 seconds in, so I'm gonna have to put a new timestamp of 14 minutes. Okay, as mentioned during this live stream, I'm continuing with my New Year's predictions, the New Year of 2021 predictions. I've been basically covering the new year almost quarterly. At least the first half was like quarterly. I covered like 3 months at a time, and I talk about the astrological alignments, and I give my predictions. At this point in time, and for this video, I'm just covering September. September was a difficult month for me to interpret, and I've had to go back over it over and over again. First, I didn't get any messages. It was the same old thing. And I mean, I've been going over September since 2020. So I finally got it. And September has a lot of critical or vital information. It does. What I realized doing my research for this particular month of September is that I said, okay, the powers, I've really taken every aspect in consideration. And what I'm talking about, I'm trying to make it make sense, is that the powers know that people are looking for answers to help alleviate their trials and tribulations in the world. And so they know people looking under every rock for an answer, including astrology. And I realized during my study sessions, my most recent study sessions, that they even have a level of, they have levels to the coding that is done relative to astrology. What I'm trying to say is there's a level for the stereotypical astrologer to find out messages about what is anticipated to unfold. Just for the stereotypical person, astrologer. You find out these mundane messages. And the mundane messages are right. The mundane messages are like, it contains information that has to do with the general populace, the masses, the majority of the 8 billion people in this world. And it really is a reflection of our simplicity. When I say our, I'm talking about the people that create humanity at this time or during this period. It's our simplicity that is reflected in these messages. And then there's another level of decoding that takes an astrologer, a professional astrologer, into another depth. And in that depth is encoded the social and political moves that the powers are making. I'm talking about big time moves. A few months back, like early this year or so, I saw some big time moves and investments and inventions or advancements in technology, and I talked about it. It was in one of my prediction videos. It may very well have been in part 3, maybe part 3, which I talked about Bill Gates and him creating a traveling wave nuclear reactor. And I talked about that big business moves and the plans for that and the strategy for that. It came out in the astrology. It happened again in September, for September's. Big business moves. Now, I'm not going to give all the fine, intricate details. I may give some. Give some. In a couple of videos I've talked about where a person can invest. And I guess me talking about areas to invest in falls on dead ears because of my social status in life, because of my social presentation to the world, and not fitting what the standard of success or beauty or something to be respected. That's the truth. Calling the elephant out in the room. Anyway, one of the things I covered, and I gotta find this video. I think I did it in possibly the video where I did cowboys and aliens, I think. I apologize, y'all. It's really, really hot. And I tried to turn the fan down so it wouldn't be so loud. But now I'm sweating. I had a towel. I don't know what it is, my towel. But it's hot. Cowboys and aliens. I think that's the video that I talked about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and the breaking of the blowing of the trumpets and the breaking of the seals and different things like that. And in that video, can you close this door for me? I forgot to close it. I suggested to it. Oh, here it is. The towel's right here. A person that's capable of investing to invest in very particular things. One of the things was in the promotion of the traveling wave nuclear reactor. That's one. Another 2 suggestions I offered for a person to invest in as far as commodities. Whew, the powers have did a number on us. They have done a number on us. The things I'm talking about has to do or are relevant to the depth in which a professional astrologer has to go in order to decipher the message that's left in the stars, obviously, for the powers. And there is a security layer that exists in astrology for the mundane seekers. Okay? Or the, I'm not going to say amateur astrologers. I don't even want to say that. Because I think that a person would have to have a keen eye to see what I see. Something is up. What am I saying? Something is up. I'm kind of rambling right now. Aquarius rant. Is that people that are state the claim that they are professional astrologers are privy to some really vital information on a social, a political, and economic level. I'm talking about privy to information that makes people rich, not rich, wealthy. Make them or leads them or allows them to have a status of being one of the dominating forces in this world. This is how serious information in the astrological alignments are and have been. So anyway, I jumped all over the place. Let me go back and talk about other things I suggested a person invest in. And I know it's going to say that the powers have done such a power. I'm all over the place. I know. Aquarius rambling right now at this point in time. This will be a long video. I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna do the mundane level, and then I'm gonna start going in depth. But I'm not going to go to the core of depth. I'm talking about on the political. I mean, not political. On the level of the powers. I'm not going to go to that level. I'm not going to go to that level. Maybe later. Maybe a little later. Because it's really interesting. Anywho, the powers have, I've talked about this in previous live streams or videos years ago, how the powers have manipulated our minds and we have been dumbed down and we are under arrested mental and emotional development. And I say that because people do not know what is wealth. They do not know what really holds value. I have shared here on my channel over and over again and advocated for what is real wealth and what actually allows a person to have power. And it's not things like they got us wrapped around now, the mundane, cryptocurrency. Yes, cryptocurrency is important. It is definitely, or not just, cryptocurrency. It's not, it's important because it is a part of our new paradigm living. They're going to watch everything that we do, you know, the big brother scenario, always got his eyes on you. Well, long as a person watches over, governs, and distributes your money, they know exactly when you're doing it, how you're doing it. It is always an evidence and a testament to what you are involved in this world. So we know that is coming. So yes, it is important. But there are other factors that are undeniably more important than cryptocurrency. And it is about our natural resources. And our natural resources are, you know, what they fight wars over. The natural resources are what is traded on the markets, talking about the stock markets. You know, it's, and I had a video, I don't want to go into detail about it. I do have a video talking about that in depth and breaking down and defining the different type of like real commodities or hard commodities, such as various foods. You hear about pork bellies and cotton and different things like that. And so that, how to say, what I was going to say, a lot of people, out of the 8 billion people in this world, there are a lot of people that are unaware of the significance of our natural resources. They're just oblivious to it. But the powers are very much aware that our natural resources are what matters. And the reason why our natural resources are what matters is because it is the natural resources that sustain our life in this world. Cryptocurrency is not going to sustain our life. It's not going to keep us fed, housed, clothed, dry, warm, clean, healthy. It's not going to do it. So all it's going to do is track us. So I'm going somewhere with this eventually. I'm going to move on in a minute. So, what was I saying? That's the first thing we have to be aware of, that there's a difference in the type of commodities that are out here. Never forget, even though there are manipulating us to forget that it is the natural resources that sustain our physical vessels that matter, and the powers are monopolizing them. That's what all of what we're dealing with now, the VAD, the what do they call it? The VID, the VAT, and the variant. That's what it's all about. In the previous videos, I compared what was coming, because I talked about this in 2019. I think it was October 2019 about what was coming in 2020. And I compared it to the Great Depression of the 1930s. How are these two scenarios compared? The 1930s and the 2020 pandemic. In the 1930s, they set up an event to occur to stagnate the people. While people were stagnated and growing through hell, the powers were again monopolizing the monopoly board of life in their favor. During that period, I did it in another video called "The Secret Message." During that time, it was all different type of people like Henry Ford, and I can't think of all the people off the top of my head. I went rambling on about that for months and months after visiting the Henry Ford Museum and seeing a banquet that they had just days before the collapse. And so I went through that, and it was called something about Jubilee. You can look it up, find a video, whatever. Comparing what? The Great Depression of the 1930s to our current pandemic that is playing out. So the people were stagnated in the 1930s, losing everything, didn't have anything. If the person didn't, if big money didn't invest in the right areas, they fell off. We learned that a lot of them committed suicide. They couldn't handle losing everything they had. They did not invest in the right interests, or ventures, or projects. Okay. But there were projects. The one that always stands out in my head is the development of the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm not a geographic expert or whatever it's called, but I guess if they built a bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge, whatever it was, that there's an island or some land across the water that they wanted to access. The reason why they wanted to access, talking about in the 1930s, the powers wanted to access that land on the other side of that body of water is because they were putting real estate over there. That means new houses, new buildings that they could draw residual income on, So they built, and the bridge itself was an investment and bought money, and it opened up an avenue. The other side, the island, whatever's on the other side of the body of water there, all was about real estate. They locked everybody out of it. And that wasn't the only project they had going on during the Great Depression. They had all types of projects going on. It was all over the country, all over the United States, even here in Michigan. The Detroit News, I think, has something to do with it. As I mentioned, Henry Ford, it was over in Canada. I think it was the Canadian Club. People had something to do with it. You got to go find that video and watch it, where I rambled on and on and on about the Great Depression of the 1930s, and we will soon be entering into a time period in the history of humanity that's going to be equal or greater to the 1930s. Now, here we are, what is it? That's about 70, 90 years later, and they doing this playing. Let me go back to 1930s, and they developed the game Monopoly off of this scheme or scam that they pulled during the 1930s, that they're fast forward another 90 years or whatever it is to 2020, where they using the same blueprint, the same plan, the same scam. They're stagnating the people, and they did it through a pandemic. Okay? Everybody's just trying to survive, while they are literally monopolizing the chessboard of life once again, and making sure that everything pans out in their favor for this new paradigm, which I'll go into detail eventually. Maybe not in this video, because this is really, I know this is really top secret stuff. It's real top secret stuff. So anyway, I'm going to stop being so dramatic right now. Oh, before I move forward, it's just a couple of things I just want to talk about to frame this work. I was hearing another YouTuber talk so positively. I was like, I get it. After I got the message I decoded the other day through astrology, I understand why there are certain people placed in society, we call them agents here on YouTube, and they tell you, be positive, it's almost over, you can make it. Because the truth of the matter is, if whatever don't kill you, make you stronger. They are absolutely right. You will make it. Think positively. However, if we stay blinded and oblivious to what is really taking place, we are merely going to be moving into a time and space, the new paradigm, under the regimen and regime of the powers, and we don't even know it. And they are giving us all clues right up under our nose. Everything from R. Kelly to the crate challenge. I'll talk about it eventually. So, but yes, stay positive. All right. Let me see. Are there any people visiting? I can't tell. This is weird. I mean, can somebody, maybe I can type in here. Yeah, because I typed something and it's not there. What is going on? Before I begin, y'all, I need to go. I don't know what they've done to my live, but I'm supposed to be able to, let me see if I do it, let me access a viewing page for myself, in which I should be able to chat with y'all and all kind of stuff, and I'm not seeing it. I just went to a page like you would go to view me, and there's no activity on it. I can't see. I'm signed in, everything, so I really don't know what's going on. It shows one viewer. I want to go here. Make sure that, I guess, the chat is on. Ew. Saying ooh because they gave me some interesting tags to add, suggested tags. Why? These settings can be changed. Oh, potentially. I don't see anything that talks about the chat anymore. Discharge. Okay, cancel that. Well, I know that timestamp has to change again. Let's see, who's this? Live chat is checked. Live chat replay. Participant mode. Okay. Redirects allow you to keep viewers engaged across multiple events, live streams. Okay, well, I guess it's okay. Yes. Oh, now I see it. Okay. Just making sure the chat works. Okay. So the first thing the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to Planet Watcher, www.planetwatcher.com, and the reason I'm taking you over to this particular site is because it allows me to share with you the astrological wheel I'll be interpreting. We're going to interpret it together. That's why this is going to be a long video. I feel like it is necessary once again to go to the extent of breaking down this chart, and I'm going to try to shorten it, but it's so much information available in this chart about what is going to take place in September. I would like you to see and learn at the same time how to read a chart and decode what the message is saying. I'm hoping that I can show you the superficial level, the level that we are seeing. And then I'm hoping that I can introduce you into the depth of astrology, where the real messages lie. I've done it before. I thought it was a coincidence. You know, I've seen a few things, but no, I see now that is a reoccurring, and the information that I'm getting is so critical because it talks about and it tells the powers when to move and what to move on, like investments and different things like that, for real. And it also shows, remember, if you follow me, you know I did a live stream talking about our intellectual capacity and how we were intellectually capped and we are under arrested development, mental development, and how the powers feel like the masses, the populace, the 8 billion people in this world are morons. I mean, they talked about us so bad in these astrological interpretations. I'm like, my God. But I understand now why they say it. I got a idea when I first kept seeing it, but now I really see why they think we are so stupid and so simple. And it really is very sad. So, all right, I'm gonna try not to take too much longer. I'm gonna let it go. I'll just rant here and there. I'm about to get started on the chart. The time period that I'm going to do, I'm about to change the time if this lets me. And I'm going to change it to September 7th. That was the time I selected to look at. So I got several screens open, y'all. I'm about to look at them to make sure that what I'm talking about, I'm seeing presented on the screen. See, it stopped. Okay. I don't know what's going on today. So we're about to start moving quicker. I did that because it's annoying that they will not allow me to give viewers, but I also understand why. Because what I'm sharing here is real threatening to the powers. It's really threatening. So I understand. Okay. I ain't going to complain. What we're going to do, we're going to go around the chart. I'm going to try to interpret it really quick. Just ride this wave with me. I'm going to try to move fast and make it make sense at the same time. Can I do it? I don't know if it can or not, but I'm going to try it. So the first, today, rather than have my little magnifying glass, I got a pointer. So we're going to use this blue pointer to help you and I stay in sync. We're starting over here. This sign right here is Aries. Aries occupies the first house in astrology. And Aries, oh, I forgot about this here. Okay. Aries represents the animated avatar. You're alive in this world. You're animated by spirit, and you're also animated and compelled to move forward in life by something. And so that's what that symbol suggests. The next symbol that I'm pointing to with the pointer is Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. If you follow me, you know I did a video talking about how our id is wounded. What's the id? If you don't follow me, well, on my channel we talked about Sigmund Freud and his study of the ego, that part of our being, the ego. It's the ego, it's the id and the super ego. Well, the id is wounded. The id loves to enjoy itself. It wants to feel secure and safe in this world. It want to party. It want to turn up. That kind of thing. You don't want to worry. But because we've been through so many superimposed negative circumstances and situations, such as 9/11, Holocaust, name some more what we've been through, y'all. We got Black Lives Matter walking because they police killing people, just all the brutality in the world. You know, they taking the immigrants' children and locking them away in cages. All these things we've witnessed or we've experienced, and it has led us to be emotionally and psychologically and spiritually wounded. That's what Chiron means. So let's go back real quick. I'm trying to go fast, y'all. So we got our bodies, ourselves, the individual, with these wounds. In this is degree 1146 or 9 or 46. 1146 corresponds with the zodiac sign Leo. Leo represents how you, when you feel confident, you can, you know, you have personal power where you can assert or impose your will into the world. You know, it's about being acknowledged for your presence and your participation in this world and your, you know, your abilities. And so what is this particular alignment saying? It said, hey, each individual in the world, you have suffered a wound directly to your id as a direct result of very unfortunate experiences that you either experienced or witnessed. And it has had an impact upon your level of personal power as you move forth in life. This is what is compelling and pushing each of us. Now, back to Chiron, the wounded healer. The wound, the battle scars we got. We don't, the things that's happened that we done seen, we done witnessed, the atrocities, we never thought they would happen. They happen in our personal lives, and they happening on a collective level. They are deeply, the impact is deeply embedded in our psyche, in our psyche, okay? And so that's push, mind you, it's a spirit behind you, pushing you through life. Now, if you got a little bit of fear back in your mind, everything you do is seasoned by that fear, or that concern, or that worry. You can't be your best self. You can't be your most powerful self, pushing through the world, imposing your will, being a king or a queen. You can't. You've been wounded. Now, I need you to understand right here, it's going to come up later, that the powers have been manipulating us and still are currently manipulating us, knowing very well that we are, I'm going to jump houses, creating our future. We are creating our future. I know y'all hear that all the time. We are subconsciously creating our future, and the powers know it. In order to try to shorten up this interpretation, I'm going to jump around. So let me show you where the powers are acting the fool. Over here is the house of Virgo, the sixth house of Virgo. And so I'm going to interpret it, but this is the house of basically the powers. Virgo, again, occupies the sixth house in astrology, and it is about your day-to-day routine and all that you must do to address the demands of life, man, and of God. What must you do? Do you have to exercise, clean house, go to work 8 hours? Do you have to, I don't know, whatever you got to do. Do you have to care for your pets, whatever? It is about the fine, intricate details of that. Not only the fine, intricate details of that, in this case, we're about to find out what the fine, intricate details surround other than that. Hopefully I made that make sense. So what else does it surround? It surrounds, fine, intricate details is the sun. In astrology, the sun corresponds with the authority figure. You know, God and light, source power. Okay? It is at 15 degrees 15. I'm going somewhere with this. This is going to be a long video, but it's going to reveal so much if you just do what? Be patient and ride the wave with me. We're going to execute the gift of discernment and gain a lot of clarity during this video. Hopefully. Anyway, so now we talking about the sun at 1515 corresponds with Libra. So let's talk about what Libra is. Well, Libra occupies the 7th house in astrology. And the 7th house is one-to-one interactions or social contracts. Let me rephrase that. The 7th house of Libra talks about social contracts. I'll say it like that. Social contracts. It is the the intimate social exchanges you have with others. Whether it's with your spouse, that's a social contract, marriage and partnership. It could be with your boss, between you and your boss. It could be between you and, I don't know, an attorney you just retained. That's you're having a partnership. You're entering a contract. You're retaining them. And because you're in a contract with another or others, there are terms and conditions of engagement that are present. Okay? So let me go back and I'm trying to move fast, y'all, because I'm trying to go somewhere with this. I really am. So now remember, this sector really, really focus more or less favors or points to the powers in relationship to others. I'll give you some examples in just a minute, but let me keep interpreting. So now we got Virgo talking about the fine, intricate details, taking into account being nitpicky of the sun, of the authority. So how do you nitpick sun? How do you nitpick authority? Like, I'm the boss, you's the boss, I'm the boss. Is that not nitpicking? Do you understand what I'm saying? In 15, in the partnership contract. So that means it's you, as an example, and you might have a relationship with the government. You might be in an intimate social contract with the government. Let me give you some examples of how an individual like yourself could be in a social, intimate contract with the government. You could work for the government. You could be receiving unemployment. You could be the recipient of entitlements such as welfare or disability or social, anything. You could be, by profession, a doctor and be connected to the government in one of those contracts. Let me ride that wave right there for a minute. A doctor. They do have bosses. And their bosses are the government. Who represents the government side as relative to medicine? Science, medicine and medical, Dr. Fauci, as an example. Okay. So what am I saying? Just giving you some examples of the various social contracts that exist. There are so many. It's hard for me to narrow down. But okay. An example is a doctor in relationship to the government or the advice or the authority of Dr. Fauci, because Dr. Fauci stands in intercession for the government. And somebody who's the authority between the doctor and Dr. Fauci, who is a representative for the United States government. Dr. Fauci is the authority. So the authority is nitpicking the doctors. Do you get what I'm saying? Okay. Now that plays out in every circle of life for all of us during the month of September, one way or another. Let's use another example. What if you are a person that you, as an individual, are with the government through, and I'm using the government over and over again because they are a power, a son, an authority, a father figure that most of us know because we are involved with it on some level. The father, the government, the authority could be, remember, how many branches of how many, is it branches? Departments are there in the government? We just talked about medical. There's agriculture, having a contract with farmers and different things like that. What's the other branches of government? It's the defense and the soldiers. You know what I'm saying? They're in a contract. And it goes down from teacher as the authority to the student. Different things like that. Different or various social contracts where there are terms and conditions of engagement on the table in which the authority figure, the power, is nitpicking the other and subordinate they are doing business with. So it could be a doctor that's being nitpicked by the Department of Medicine or whatever it's called in the government. It could be teachers being nitpicked by whatever their authority figures are. It could be patients, as an example, being nitpicked by their own intimate doctors. And remember, it plays out on a micro scale and a macro scale. So it's down to the most typical or common person all the way up through the government, as high as you can go. Okay. Hopefully y'all can hear me. I'm going to try to move faster. I just try to make it make sense, because I'm going somewhere with this. This was, September took me a long time to get. But when I got it, baby, I got it. And I promise y'all, this is going to be a long video. Even though it's going to be long, the money-making part of it, it's going to be a minute. It's going to be a minute. Because I got to figure out how to invest. But I'm going to give you some clues. So if you like to go ride your own wave, you can. Okay. So anyway, so we talking about the powers over here still. We talking about the details. The first detail that we discovered in this alignment is that the powers are interacting with the other party they're in a contract with. Gave examples. And they're nitpicking as an example. Or they're calling them into account. Calling them into account. Okay. The next planet is the moon. The moon represents your emotions and feelings, with things you're sensitive about and how you respond, those kind of things. And the degree, now we're talking about the details of what someone feels, how they, the emotions that they're having. And it's in 23, 25. 23, the degree, 23, 25 is Capricorn. We've talked about Capricorn on my channel. What's Capricorn about? Your bio. Remember we talked about the bio, your biography. What you achieve in this world. I was born, I became a bum. That might be your bio. Or I was born, I went K through 12, then I went to higher education 8 years, I became a mortician or a doctor. That's some bio. You know, I was married to and divorced and got married again. You played all these various social roles. Okay, so that's what Capricorn represents. And how the roles that we play, you know, every role that we play has some responsibilities and duties, meaning we got to work with our hands, we got to do something, is a reflection of our true state of our soul. So, let me give you an example of what we're talking about. And a person that works for an, if I say one of them clinics that don't favor or give you the option not to have kids. Say it like that. If a person works there, and I'm not trying to belittle nobody, but this is the information that the astrological wheels has offered over and over again. It says, okay, if you're able to, if you don't value that life that's coming in and you're willing to exterminate it, then that is a representation of your soul. Period. That's what it's saying. Okay, just an example. Anyway, so back to this. Because what we're talking about in this house of Virgo are the fine, intricate details about what's basically surrounding this power, the powers, and these social contracts that they are in with others. And it's not just the government or the powers, but that's our primary focus right now, to try to keep it simple. So the details are, there's authority, nitpicking. They're feeling, what was the feeling? Under the 23, 25, it was, Capricorn. They're feeling the person's level of empowerment is greatly defined by their worldly success. Does that make sense? How you feel. If you feel emotionally secure and stable, like you have a support system, like you can be a support system, is based on what you accomplish in this world. The more you make, usually the more secure you feel. So, let's go back to this intimate social contract. Use an example, the government and another. Okay? How about one of us in relationship to the government? We in a contract, terms and conditions on the table. Let me describe some of the terms and conditions that can be on the table relative to a mundane person. A person can be, I often use unemployment. A person can be on unemployment. And the terms and conditions between a person pulling unemployment or claiming benefits, unemployment benefits, from what? The government, the unemployment or is the Department of Labor. That's the government, right? There are terms and conditions. The government says to the person in need, I got this money for you. I'll give you so much. But here are the terms and conditions on the table. It say you have to certify how every 2 weeks or whatever. You got to look for employment, yada, yada, yada. And the person in need say, okay, I'm willing to do it. And if I don't, I realize I don't get the benefits. Or whatever terms and conditions are between the two of those parties, those particular parties. So, the government, what they do, what is the bio of the government? The bio is we run and regulate the world and the people. We govern the people. We manage the resources. We see to the distribution. We do international, exchanges and things like that. That's just what the government does. That's their bio. They're international, dealing with billions of people, and all the money and all the resources in the world that are true wealth. So their bio is quite extensive. Maybe, what's the word I can use? Spectacular in relationship to a person like myself or yourself. Maybe a person pulling unemployment. What's your bio? Well, for some people, their bio goes a little like this. This is just an example. Well, I've been working the last 10, 15 years at Target. I finally made sales team head, lead, and now I make $14, $15 an hour. That's my bio, as an example, a person's bio. So, who do you think has more confidence? The unemployed or unemployed ex-Target employee, that's non-employed, or the government? So what am I saying? I'm saying we're looking at the details about what's going on here surrounding the powers. They are, as an example, are in a contract with others. There's a power and a contract with another. And there's somewhat of like a power struggle going on. I can't leave here yet because I'm talking about the details that's being focused on in this chart. And it's saying that there's a within a social contract or a social exchange, there is one side that's more powerful than the other. And that side that is more powerful than the other is really nitpicky. To try to cut this interpretation short, they are actually even going to the extent of currently manipulating you to get the outcome that they want. Each party feels a certain type of way, and it's based on a social status, their level of success and influence in the world, in direct relationship to the person they're in a contract with all that's going on there. The next one is next sign is Mars. Mars is representation or representative of energy and motion. Getting up, moving, walking, doing, seeing. It's all the INGs and things like that. Running, doing, dancing, energy in motion. So the degree of Mars in Virgo, the details is 2516. 2516 corresponds with the sign of Aquarius. And the sign of Aquarius represents each individual that creates humanity during this time period and what we are involved in. Not only are we humans, actively being humans, remember Mars is action, we are participating in the different parts of our world or structures of our world. Some of us belong to religious, very specific religious institutions. Other of us are participants in different or specific political parties and movements and different things like that. So we're actively engaged and participating in this world. So what are the details? It's like I'm busy doing this while the power is busy doing that. Everybody's basically following their own interests, whether it's on an individual level or you come together, birds of a feather flock together, you know, a group, a club, an organization, and you move as a unit on a mission. So what is this area saying? Well, it's saying, hey, there are power struggles going on between basically the powers and the another that most likely are subordinate, and each of the parties' level of personal will is based on their success level in this world and their influence in this world and what they are participating in, and if that what they're participating in is being successful. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going a little bit further, because here this next zodiac sign is Libra, and remember we talked about Libra, and Libra talks about what? The social contracts that we enter into, the intimate social contracts that we enter in with another or other parties, whether it's personal, professional, or you know, intimate, romantic, whatever the contract is. And there are always, remember, there are always terms and conditions of engagement on the table. Okay, so we're back there talking about this contract that's going on, these various contracts, especially with a spotlight on the powers and the others. Okay, well, here we have Mercury, and Mercury talks about, you know, how your mind processes information and you are able to comprehend, to discern, to think, to communicate your ideas and different things like that. That's what Mercury is. And Mercury, I have to say this, also aligns with the markets. That's a clue. The markets. And I'm going to just put it here so I won't forget. The markets are about to take a mighty shift. Of course, the shift that the markets are about to take, I'm talking about the actual physical grocery store markets that you go to, and I'm also talking about the stock markets where they trade commodities and things like that, is about to shift. It's not going to shift in the favor of the mundane, the common, the people, the populace. It's not. Why? Because the powers, this astrological wheels, the message within this psychological, astrological wheel suggests that the success is in the favor of the powers. The success is in the favor of the powers. Right now, so I don't forget, I'm going to mention it. I know I'm going to come back to it a few times. And how does this astrological chart let a viewer know, an interpreter know, that the success lies in the balance or leans in favor of the powers rather than the people? Because of, I'm about to shoot somewhere else, y'all. Boom. I'm trying to shorten it up. This is the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius occupies the 11th house of Aquarius. When I interpreted this alignment, before I could get done, I started singing this song. And this is one of the clues or alerts that the messages that are contained in this wheel go into that depth. The depth that is beneficial to make sure the powers get the messages that they need in a timely manner, so they know when to move, they know what to do, and they know what to invest in. Anyway, after I interpreted the 11th house of Aquarius and the planets placed there, I began to sing the song, I Believe I Can Fly. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. That. Y'all know who sung that song and made it like a national anthem? Some of y'all was right. Yep. R. Kelly. R. Kelly. I started tripping. I was like, this here reflects that song. It recalls that song, I Believe I Can Fly. When I realized that that's what this alignment suggests, And I realized that that was R. Kelly, and just how R. Kelly is being, really publicized, and his sexual predatory behaviors being publicized to what? Distract the people. I said, what's the chances? What's the chances? And I asked the question. I said, what year did R. Kelly release the song, I Believe I Can Fly? And the year was 1995. But I have to come back to that. That's going really, really deep. And it will take us somewhere I don't think we knew actually really existed. And that's to a very elaborate encoded system that what alerts the powers when it's time to move, how to move, and where to invest. Okay. So I'm back over here, Libra, the social contracts and the terms and conditions. So now we're talking about, the various terms and conditions that are laid on the table in contracts. And we have here Mercury, the way you think, the thoughts, mental processing, communications, the market. Again, the physical grocery market and the commodity markets, etc., etc. It's at 11 degrees. 11 degrees corresponds with Leo. Leo represents remember, a person's sense of self-worth and personal power and ability to, I should have got my glass. I didn't get anything. And an ability and their ability to impose their will into the world. Let me see if anybody see anything at all. Oh yes, hello. He said, I'll wage attacks unlimited times, countlessly, mercilessly, and permanently against all your devils and yourself by mighty name of God, Yah. Toast. It's so interesting to me, and it has been for a long time, that I know my channel is shadow banned. I don't get a growing audience, but I really seem to find the real fanatics, the real life fanatics, people that are consciously and intellectually capped, stuck in religion and cannot see. And I'm not down on religion because it was an excellent milestone to where I am. But that goes to show me when a person is stuck in religion and cannot see what it really is, nor the messages that are being shown to you right out in your face, you are intellectually capped. And then I also get every now and then a troll. Amazing, but nothing else. But thank you, CR, for sharing what you shared, because at least I know the chat worked. Okay. Anywho, I'm on the way. I'm going somewhere. Actually, oh shit. Oop, I didn't make it. Okay. At this point in time, I clicked something wrong. So I don't know. Okay. I don't know. I clicked something wrong. At this time, I'm taking my vices. I'm not trying to mislead nobody. This is why I do. Cigarettes are deadly. Don't smoke them, kids. Don't smoke them. But this is what I do. So, anyway, I'm talking about, I'm still dealing with the 7th house Libra, and we're talking about the terms and conditions that's on the table that are focused on in the month of September. And what are the terms and conditions? It talks about how you speak, how you think, how you your cognitive abilities, your the way you comprehend based on your Leo. Remember, we started over here in the first house of yourself, moving in this world, being wounded. What part of Leo is wounded? Remember, back to Sigmund Freud's study of the ego, is the ego, the id, and the superego. And our previous research and studies revealed to us that the majority of the world's population has suffered some type of emotional and psychological wound that still continues to linger with them for the rest of their life. We don't even know it's there, but it has influenced us, and it influences the way we think, and again, the way we process. It leads us to be able to have discernment. It affects how we again communicate. So that's one of the terms and conditions that's on the table and spotlighted. You know, this is what's going on. We're looking at this. The next thing is, and again, I gotta say this too, Leo also represents an authority figure, like a king or queen, yourself, you know, as king or queen in your own right. Okay, you're in a partnership with another. So the next astrological, or the next planet is, don't get it wrong, look around, that's Venus. That's Venus. Hold on, y'all. This is a long video. I'm taking my time. I'm on a stroll. I'm going somewhere with this. I will ultimately make some predictions and reveal some tactics of psychological manipulation and how we're being coerced to be distracted at this time, and for what reason. Hopefully I get there. We'll see. Do I have it here? I need this step by step. All right. Let's see. Okay. Venus. The planet Venus talks about how to get balance in this world, how to have harmony, peace, how to be cordial. You know, how to balance a particular circumstance or situation. The particular circumstance and situation we are trying to figure out how to balance or be successful or cordial or functioning are what? These social contracts that we're in with another. So this here suggests that we have at least two parties. We talked about doctor and department of medicine. We talked about a student and teacher. We talked about the government and whomever else they're doing business with, even us on an individual level. Those possibly receiving unemployment, some type of entitlement or a supplement, whatever it's called. You know, those contracts. How do we get peace? Well, based on this astrological alignment, suggests that there really is no peace. Remember, the 11th degree corresponds with Leo. Leo is an authority figure. So we got each party, each side, constantly spewing out their demands. Remember, it's terms and conditions on the table. The terms and conditions of engagement. They go pewing out, each part, pewing out. Not giving. It's almost like a, chessmate? Or a draw? Throwing, I want this, I want that, I want this, I'm demanding this, I'm demanding that. And it's going back and forth. How do you strike a balance? During the month of September, it says just that there is no striking a balance. People are not yielding. The people are not yielding to the demands of the government. And because the people are not yielding, the government, the powers, as I've described them, are going to be using various tactics, psychological and physical manipulation, to bend the wheel or the arms of the people to make them do what they need them to do so they can fulfill their agenda. We're going to keep on moving. So anyway, we're talking about Venus and what it takes to have some balance or some peace and contracts. So the degree here is 26 degrees. The 26th degree corresponds with the sign Aquarius. We talked about Aquarius. Aquarius represents what? Each individual that creates humanity at any given time, and what social constructs or organizations they participate in. So, this Venus, 26 degree of Venus in Libra, says the only way that you're going to get some peace, some harmony, some tranquility, some cordial social interactions is if you are engaging with people that have a similar mission or interest as yourself. That means that everybody only finds or is able to come to an agreement when they're with people like themselves. Like, going back to the example I used, the doctors, in a contract with the government, the Department of Medicine, Science and Medicine, or whatever, and the Department of Science and Medicine, mostly led by Dr. Fauci, says, hey, we need you doctors to do this, to perpetrate this to all your patients. And the doctors may not very well align with that. They're not aligning with that. So they're telling the government, hey, we're not going to do that. This is what we do. We took an oath to be healers and we do this and that. So people, they not agreeing. Stalemate. What they call it? Checkmate. Whatever. Stalemate. Whatever it is. And so now the doctors, with this, the only way they will have any peace or tranquility is to go off in their own little corner. To go off in their own little corner. People like yourselves. Political groups together. Doctors together. Lawyers together, or people that have a common, again, interest or mission. That's where you find your peace. But when you go, or a party goes to have to engage the other party in their contract that they need to do business with, there's just this consistent back and forth. Again, the people are not moving, and neither is the government, as the example, moving. But they are moving covertly, psychologically and physically manipulating the people, bending their arm behind their back by doing what? Back here, nitpicking, calling people to account, pulling records, doing things like that. Prediction, pulling records. Get your records in order. They about to start some crap. Okay. Let's see. I need to go back because I did pass one house. It's the second house of Taurus. The second house of Taurus corresponds with what we presume that we need in our lives to have to be able to satisfy and pacify. Always do that. Pacify the demands of life, our wants, our urges, our needs, our desires. When I say urges, I'm talking about the grand urges and the demi-urges. The grand urges is hunger. You need thirst. You need some water. You need to pay the water company, go buy a pop, do something. You need some food to eat. Otherwise, you can't satisfy that grand urge. Or the demi-urges. The demi-urges are like cigarettes. Demi-urges is like drugs and things like that. Our longings and desires. Some people into buying love and different things like that. And so that's what the Taurus sign corresponds with. It corresponds with the type of clothes we like to wear and the shoes. It's the quality of life we've grown accustomed to. Well, we have already went over this over and over again because we know that this planet Uranus is going to be in Taurus for some time. And Uranus was Uranus moving into Taurus was the trigger to what we have going on now. It let us know or foretold of a destabilization to our ability to pacify our physical, worldly wants, needs, and urges and desires. It's saying something going to happen. You might be short on some change, and you can't pacify them things. So it let us know what Uranus, because Uranus talks about sudden, unexpected, and unanticipated events unfolding that may rock your world. It may shake you off, shake your stability off its foundation. It may lead you to have to revise something in your life to start building again. Okay, so that's what Uranus talks about. It also offers the opportunity for enlightenment. Why? Because you realize something wrong and ooh, I woke up. This is like the awakening. We awaken now, like something ain't right. Well, this is the planet that was responsible. Anyway, the degree in which Uranus is positioned in a sign of Taurus, or the second house, is 14 degrees 39. The degree 14 degrees 39 corresponds with the zodiac sign Virgo. We just talked about Virgo. Virgo has to do, again, with your day-to-day routine and all that you are required to do to meet the demands of life, man, and of God. Go to school, work, whatever you have to do. Deal with your health, take care of pets, whatever. It's the various details. The details about something. And in this case, what are we getting real detailed about? What are we looking at through a microscopic lens to be able to see every nook and cranny? It is the various circumstances, unexpected and unanticipated circumstances and situations that keep cropping up that destabilize our sense of physical, worldly security and stability and will not permit us to be able to pacify our physical, worldly wants, needs, and desires. It just won't let us. Every time I turn around, I got a flat tire. Every time I turn around, I got an unexpected bill. Every time I turn around, some crazy kind of something happening in this world that caused me not to be able to go to work, make the money that I've grown accustomed to making so I can buy the quality of life I've grown accustomed to, and it also make it easier for me to meet the demands of life, man, and of God, whatever they may be. And what they may be is the grand urge or the demi-urge or your or the government calling you to do something. You know what I'm saying? You can't beat it. You know what I'm saying? It keeps happening over and over and over again. I'm taking a breath. I'm trying to move fast, y'all. We are creating our future. This is the North Node in the sign of Gemini. Let me talk about Gemini. It's a reason, y'all, that I'm going through all of this, trying to describe, not describe, but decipher before you the messages in this astrological wheel, because it really, really goes deep. And I will try to take you into the depth of the message as I can over the course of this live stream. But I'm not going to go past 3 hours. So, Gemini. What does Gemini correspond with? It's third house of Gemini. Well, it talks about your hands put to work to do what? Create your future, in this case. How do I know it's the future? Because the North Node, this little symbol here, the North Node is here. Your destiny, your future. You know? Hey, where are you going? Well, you're trying. Oh, no. Jump back. That was little Gemini. Gemini represents being like a product of your environment, your upbringing. It's the intimate influences on you, like your community, your siblings, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, and different things like that. It's your early education, you know, the K through 12 and things, you know, your preliminary learning and understanding about this world. You get an idea, you begin to think you know what's going on, right? It also has to do with those influences upon your development, or that time frame in your life, upon your intellectual development, leading you to behave certain ways, to think certain ways, and behave certain ways. That's why I say you kind of sum up the third house of Gemini as being a product of your environment. Whomever you end up becoming as a direct result of your environment will determine how you physically use your hands to do things in the world. To what? Ultimately, in this case, create your future. North Node. The degree is 5 degrees. North Node in Gemini. So once again, this 5th degree corresponds with Gemini. Going back into your early, the preliminary influences upon your development, your mental development, and therefore how you think and your behavior and things like that. So what are the preliminary or early influences that are impacting you as you move forward and live your life, subconsciously creating your future? These sudden events that keep happening, that keep destabilizing your physical world and security, those unexpected bills, a flat tire, a lost job, a pandemic, or whatever. you're a product of your environment. Your mind has been manipulated to think a certain way. And so, you create your future. You create your future. Ask the same question again. You are, as a product of your environment, what has influenced you? Aries. This first house of Aries is say, hey, just because you came in this world, during the time period that you came in this world, you have either experienced and or witnessed some unfortunate events, circumstances, and situations. Everything from 9/11 to the Oklahoma bombing, which was pointed out in this particular chart, to maybe not the Holocaust. What has happened since, let's see, it's a generational thing, well, over the last 84 years or something, based on Uranus. What am I talking about? What am I rambling about? Well, there are generational planets. It's like generational curses. There's a certain bracket of a grouping of people, and as a direct result of what they allowed to unfold in this world, dictated what the future would bring, creating a reality on a collective level. So, there's a certain time period that I can actually frame and then look at the negative events or the events that have traumatized us, in order to see what has occurred that has, that is a part of your environment, your earthly environment, to produce you into remember, you're a product of your environment, to produce in you a certain mindset, thought pattern, beliefs, so that you'll act a certain way and do certain works. Again, several of these alignments in this chart suggest that life is unfolding in the favor of the powers. I've talked about this before, that the powers have strategically, psychologically manipulated the masses to do as they need them to do in order to help them facilitate the process that they need to go through in order to fulfill their agenda, to reach their goal. And this chart reiterates that once again. We are creating our environment. Hopefully I'm making it make sense. I'm trying to go through. I'm trying to be a little dramatic because I know the video long, so I won't go to sleep. Okay, so we talked about Aries. We talked about Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. Cancer motto is I feel. So I'm not going to go into depth. I can go into depth talking about these houses that seemingly don't have anything in them. There are some relative messages, but in order to try to shorten this video, I won't go into it. However, just acknowledge that Cancer is present, and it represents how a person feels about the various alignments it has, or relationship it has to other houses or alignments in this chart. The next is Leo. Leo occupies the 5th house in astrology, and its motto is I will. So I'm going to will this into existence. Again, I'm going to keep going. Remember, this is the house of Virgo, and it talks about the fine, intricate details taking place in intimate social contracts, and it is this kind of like power struggle taking place with the power leaning in faith with success leaning in favor of the powers. And it also shows, well, the next one really shows this back and forth between parties, opposing like parties, or parties that have different interests, and can there's no relief felt. There's this back and forth bickering or standoff kind of energy, and the only way one can find peace is to go back into their relative corner with like-minded people. The next zodiac sign is the sign of Scorpio, which occupies the 8th house. The motto of Scorpio is I desire. And so let me offer you one example of how these houses that seem like they don't have any information in them actually do. Again, where the pointer is pointing is to the 8th house of Scorpio. The motto is I desire. So it's saying each individual desires something. One of the things they desire is what? Peace. A moment of silence. And how do they get it? By going into the relative corner, being amongst people that have the same interests and mindset as themselves. Okay, this is one example. Next house is the 9th house of Sagittarius. And the 9th house of Sagittarius motto is I seek. Next is Capricorn. The 10th house of Capricorn. Well, Capricorn occupies the 10th house in astrology. And its motto is I use. Remember, Capricorn corresponds with our bio. It's our careers, it's our ambitions, it's our social reputation and social status. It's our influence. It's, again, what we do for a living is various social roles. And depending on the roles that we play in this world, it also has its respective responsibilities and duties that we must do. And whatever we choose to do is a true reflection of the state of our soul, who we are on the soul level. Anyway, so we got Capricorn. And Capricorn talks about the overall world structure, the whole world structure, how it's all been designed to function, to facilitate, I've been using that word a lot, existence. The planet present, and it's going to be there for some time, we know that. We often talk about it as Pluto. Pluto is destroying the old structures, the old social roles, the old platforms. And it's not just destroying it permanently, it's destroying these established structures that it took 3,000 years for us to develop, humanity to develop. I do believe with the aid of some extraterrestrial beings or something like that, of Earth beings. Okay. Anyway, it's being destroyed after all this time in order to be transformed. It's being transformed. It will be resurrected. I do believe this is about the resurrection and the coming of the new kingdom and heavens and all that. That's what this is about. So anyway, Pluto and Capricorn talks about the destruction of the established structure that we've lived up under our anybody that's watching this video, capable of watching this video, our whole lifetime. That structure that we know, overall, no matter where you look, it's being destroyed, it's being changed, it's being transformed. But it also is under, we can say, renovation. It will be resurrected. It will be new. It's moving from the old paradigm, the transition, into the new paradigm. And the degree in which Pluto sits is the 24th degree. The 24th degree corresponds with what? Capricorn. Capricorn is that structure. That structure. But it was something else that I had picked up. Let me see. It says the overall world structure is transforming destruction for reconstruction, old paradigm, new paradigm. Oh, in favor of the powers. That's what I want to point out. What I have. I want to stop here and focus on something. Remember, I keep saying that there's various alignments in this chart that signal to an interpreter that the success of this a lot of people mental. Anyway, I don't know what I was saying, but it lies in the favor of the powers. Here is an example. Why do people drift in the middle of the street? I can't that. Anyway, here's one of the alignments that lets us know, by its relationship, that favor is toward the powers. This is the 6th house of Virgo. Virgo and Capricorn are both earth signs. They are 120 degrees of separation. That 120 degrees of separation suggests they are harmonious. They work together perfectly. You know, they're in support of each other. So what's in support of each other? The powers, nitpicking in social contracts, feeling like they're superior and they have the right to dictate and govern this world, as it is deconstructed from the old paradigm and reconstructed, or the resurrection of the new paradigm. Okay? They feel, Capricorn, that they're going to hold positions, have careers that are superior, or represent their superiority over the other parties, whoever the other parties may be, whether it's me, you, any other individual in the world, a doctor, a lawyer, I don't know, a chef, a cook, I don't know, another country, you know, that they feel superior to. I'm going on another level on there, but I'm gonna leave it alone. So I just want to show you an example of how it is suggested and highlighted and emphasizes the word that favor is falling on the side of the powers. This alignment, this relationship between these two signs or houses suggests that they are in the lead, in control of defining the new paradigm. Defining the new paradigm. I stop right there and emphasize, so if I don't forget that word, I really need it. It's because I think it was last month that I picked it up. I don't know if it was in astrology or tarot. I think it was tarot. That it was time to begin to define the new paradigm. The powers are way ahead of the people, because the people are what? In order to be nice, sheeple. And I'm going to extend this. I'm gonna make a part 2 to this video. Oh, if I do that, I'm really gonna mess up. I'm gonna do a number 2. Maybe I have a little more success. So I'm just gonna finalize this chart, because hopefully I have conveyed the message in the astrological chart, the surface level message in this astrological chart. And in the next video, I'm going to go a layer deeper about what the astrological message is saying on a deeper level. And then there's one of great depth. So let me finish. I don't want to hold y'all. Yeah, okay, I'll keep it short. So anyway, I just talked about Capricorn, and we're talking about the various social roles that people play in their power positions. And so the powers are saying, hey, we're setting up this new paradigm. You know, we're setting up the whole new structure, You know, however it's going to be set up, we're setting it up. We're making the root. Let me stop. Because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is the rule maker. He makes the rules, the regulations, the policies, the ordinance. Saturn sets up the perimeter for which you must fit into. Otherwise, you don't participate. Otherwise, you're penalized, etc., etc. That's a whole nother video. I'm sure there's a message coming about Saturn. So I'm going to let it go. Anywho, back to the 11th house of Aquarius. I believe I can fly. I can fly. Aquarius, we've talked about it during this video, live stream. Aquarius represents each individual that creates humanity during this time period. There's said to be 8 billion people in the world. So 8 billion individual people, and their participation in the world. What do they do? What clubs, groups, or organizations or friendship circles do they, hang in? In whatever circle that this individual may hang in, what is that circle shared interest or mission. I also often give the example of religious institutions and political parties and different things like that. Aquarius is also, now I did a video talking about cult, C-U-L-T, or cultures, and talked about the diversity. So Aquarius also has to do with the diversities in the world. We are diversified by different means. One natural way that we are diversified on this earth is that we live on different continents. I can't remember if it was 7 or 9 continents, but that's diversity. That also represents Aquarius, because on each continent there are different countries. We're broken down further and further and further, and we have very specific interests based on our demographic location. We got different foods, etc., etc., etc. Anywho, the zodiacs, the planets that are in Aquarius, Saturn. That is where the pointer is pointing at this moment. Saturn, we just talked about Saturn because it rules Capricorn, so we just talked about it. Remember, it's the taskmaster. It's the one that says what you got to do, how you gonna do it, and when you're gonna do it. It defines the boundaries, the rules, the regulations, the policies, the perimeters in which you must fit in order to participate and or find favor. Okay? To be considered worthy of advancing. It's 7 degrees. 7 degrees, what is that? 46. 7 degrees corresponds with Gemini. We're back talking about being a product of one's environment. I just talked about the various ways we are diversified. That's where we're at in this world, from continents and cultures, all the way from the micro level to the macro level to the micro level, all the way down to the religious institution you participate in, a political party. You're a product of your environment. You're a product of your religious choice. Therefore, you think a certain way and you act a certain way. You ain't gonna do nothing out of the ordinary. You stuck. Somebody just made a comment on here. Stuck. Count. You are a product of your environment. Sometimes, depending on what culture you are, there are some really orthodox cultures, not religions, cultures in this world. Each person that belongs to like an orthodox culture are a product of their environment. So you think a certain way, you behave a certain way. You ain't gonna do nothing else. You can't. Those are the rules and policies, the rules, regulations, policy, and perimeter in which examples people fit. That's just a few of them. Okay, so that's what it's saying. That's what Aquarius is talking about. That's what Aquarius, these 8 billion individual people in the world at this time. You belong to some sect, some cult, some sector, some culture, some something, whatever it may be. We could go into more depth by relating this house that I'm now interpreting to the other houses. Okay, to get a more refined understanding of what this house is really telling us. Anyway, we know that you capped. You capped. You locked in. But the powers aren't. Okay. Anyway, the powers are not. Let me see. You can't see that. Let's start here. The powers. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. 150, just using this time to offer an example of how the different houses relate and the alignments in them. It's saying, okay, the powers are over here, and 150 degrees of separation suggests some troubles or challenges. It doesn't harmonize very well. It's like, it just kind of rubs the wrong way. It maybe even almost repels the other. And so the powers over here being nitpicky, don't relate very well to being stuck. You're not stuck. The people, the individuals are stuck. Hopefully I made that make sense. Just an example. Okay, what else is in this house? We have Jupiter. Jupiter. Let's talk about Jupiter and what it represents. Jupiter represents, Jupiter represents how your life experiences have a promise attached to it. Your life journey has a promise attached to it. How can I say this? Depending on what you're exposed to in life determines the level of information you can accumulate, giving you the opportunity to expand your consciousness and your awareness, to wake up and to be able to advance further in life. You can advance further in life the more you are aware, the more you can see, the more you can comprehend, the more you can discern has a gift. And that gift comes in many forms. You may discern or perceive danger. And because you were advanced enough, as an example, to perceive danger, you can miss out on some life-threatening situations. That's the gift. You get to leave. That's just an example. The way it looks in our reality is that if you go to school, K through 12 as an example, and then you go on to Jupiter, higher learning, major educational institutions, universities, and you are a product, example, of your environment. What environment am I talking about here? Advanced, known, higher educations to university. You're a product of your environment. If you follow the rules, the regulations, the policies, if you pass them tests, do this, do that, then you're going to get so educated that you're going to become an expert or proficient in some area. And there's a promise. Whatever area you become proficient in, there's a promise. It's going to take you somewhere. It's going to allow you to heal the sick, if that's what you're proficient in. It's going to allow you at least to be able to graduate and walk across the stage like a K through 12. You graduate now, you ain't got to never come back. You fulfill the obligations of the basics, the basics in this work. You ain't got to never come back. You got, you know how to add, subtract, that's the promise fulfilled. And so what does this sector talk about? I believe I can fly. Think about it. Once you, as one of the individuals in humanity at this time, you go ahead and you go to college. And you do everything. You buckle down and you learn, you take your test, you graduate. You become what they call a person that valedictorian, walking across the stage. You are the best of the best. You know there's a promise attached to it. The income bracket you're going to be in is going to be greater than those that didn't go to college. You know that you can go get a job in your field, if you're on that level, in your field of expertise. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I believe I can fly. R. Kelly released that song in 1995. It is significant. When I start the new video, after ending this one, I will most likely be picking up with giving you, again, the next level of information that I perceived in this chart. It is a message to humanity. And, I can write it down right here so I remember. Spirit told me, So, I'll come back with that. And then I do R. Kelly and the song. So, I'm going to do this last house. And what am I talking about? What have I been talking about for almost 2 hours? I have sat here live and decoded the astrological chart for September 7th. The energies do not come and fade in a day. They set out to perform the task that God commanded them to do so, and then they disobey. So this message is letting us know what is taking place on the surface level. And in the surface level, we are all wounded. We have all been psychologically manipulated by the powers. Life has revealed to us or shown us some traumatic circumstances and events and scenarios that have superimposed a state, subconscious state of fear upon us. And we are actively moving for creating our future, not knowing what we're doing. And now we're at this point in time in the history of humanity, we are sitting up, bickering back and forth with that which is a power over us, feeling like we're strong. We are in power. We won't yield. But the reality is, the powers knew this is the place where we're going to be at this time. And so they've made provisions. And they are currently, and will, in the month of September, be manipulating us at an extraordinary rate or intensity. Bending our arms behind our back in order to force us to do what they need us to do to help them facilitate and move forward, progress, and move forward on fulfilling their agenda. So, I was just talking about the 11th house of Aquarius, and I was singing this song, I Believe I Can Fly, relative to R. Kelly, and it being released in 1995. But what about those that never got an education, maybe a bum on the street? What's your highest potential? You know, that basically, that's what this particular house is saying. You, as an individual participant in this world, based on what you've been exposed to in your work, in this life, and what you've accomplished, what is your highest potential? Many of us don't know our highest potential, but the government does, or the powers, not the government, the powers do. Okay, that's what it's asked about, and it's for a reason. It asks that, and this particular section of the wheel also points to, believe it or not, y'all, guess what? Propaganda, distractions. What is called the crate challenge. The crate challenge. They knew all of this was playing, even the crate challenge. And I'm gonna come back in the next video and make sure to cover the crate challenge. I'm going somewhere with this. Just what? Ride the wave with me if you will. All right, y'all. The very last house is the 12th house, and the 12th house is occupied by the zodiac sign of Pisces. Pisces is symbolized with two little fish. It's a water sign. The feminine water sign is feelings and emotions. Guess what? It's your subconscious manifest into the physical. It is manifest destiny. Because you have had your collective life experience on an even just an individual level, you have carried with you how you truly feel. It has imposed upon your soul, and every work that you do, everything that you participate in is creating your reality. Whether you've been psychologically wounded by your early upbringing, if you end up going to prison, most people have created that overall outcome because you were striking out in the world. You was fighting people. You was robbing. And you felt like the world owed you something. And you went out to do what you felt you had to do because you was made. And you end up in prison. I offer that as an example because it's an excellent example of what Pisces represents. Or you can have a collective life experiences and how you respond to it overall. In the end, you say, oh, Lord, I see there are people hungry, they starving, they going through all kind of stuff. I've been hungry myself, etc., etc. And in the end, you say, oh, I got to give back. And you perform charitable acts and you are such a humanitarian. That's what Pisces also represents. Or Pisces represents, over the course of your life, you weren't well educated as far as dietary habits, yada yada yada. You didn't exercise, you did this and that, and then you find later on in life, at a particular time, that your health goes bad and you find yourself what? In the hospital. Or life is so stressful, so many crazy things that happen. The id has been, here you go, the id right next to it, because they go together, has been wounded so bad, and you can't make sense of it, you can't get no healing, you find yourself in a mental institution. Manifest destiny. Okay, that's Pisces. It is also the house of the collective conscious, what we manifest together. Why? Because it's a direct result of a generational emotional state. A generational emotional state. Okay? You know, fear, worry, there's a lot that has been coming up in the astrological energies. And so we manifest our future. Anyway, in this house of Pisces, these double fish, we have its ruling planet, Neptune, is at home. And so Neptune represents this cloudiness, this being unsure, you can't see, those kind of things. Very nebulous, it's very distant. Again, it's distorted, you can't see it. And what can't we see? 21. 21 degrees corresponds with Sagittarius. We can't see our life journey. We can't see like the next step. We're not seeing what is Sagittarius defined is the dominant philosophy in the world, the dominant philosophy and world views that are governing this world. We are currently moving from an old paradigm into a new paradigm. The old paradigm had its own unique philosophies and ideologies and things like that, such as, just an example so we understand what I'm saying, heterosexuality was the only thing that was legally acceptable or socially acceptable. It was the only thing that was politically correct. That's the old paradigm. One man to one woman, and they had 2.5 plus kids and a dog and a house and a big fence. That was socially and politically correct. That's the old ideology. We're moving, into new paradigm. This new paradigm has what? New ideologies. New philosophies. There are new dominating and predominant worldviews, etc., etc. So what are they now? Well, is to sum it up, to shorten up this video, LGBTQ community that is socially acceptable and politically supported. Okay, new paradigm. New paradigm living is what I call it. So we are in this time frame in the 12th house. It's talking about, okay, we are manifesting destiny, but we are not quite sure what is being manifested. As far as what? The predominating philosophies and worldview. We're not. We who? The people. Each individual that creates humanity at this time period, we can't see what's about to manifest or materialize in our physical world from out of the ethereal realm. We can't see it. But guess, okay. Guess we can. No, guess we can. The powers. But that shows up with a different alignment. Okay, yeah, just short of 2 hours. Anywho, thank you, whomever came to watch me do this first part of part 5 of my new year 2021 predictions for September. What do I predict just on this surface level? I predict that there will be a lot of strife taking place. I'll try to just use the micro level between the government and various sectors of society, even individual people, white people, unemployment as an example. And you're going to feel quite empowered, stressed at specific times as you engage them, the power. You're going to be very stressed. And you, in order to find relief, you go off to your corner with like-minded people that have the same mission as yourself. Another thing I can predict is that in the month of September, the social construct that we have known thus far will continue to deteriorate. It's not through breaking down yet, y'all. We are still living on a failing system. We're really living on a failing system. That is to say, we have yet to see the new paradigm, that new spiritual entity. We have yet to see it. So we will still see certain institutions shutting down or again being transformed, because a lot of these institutions or various sectors in society are going to be renovated and resurrected, renewed and made whole and resurrected. So we're going to see things shutting down, and many of the things we see shut down will be relative to those that have limited comprehension or discernment. I'm talking about on the level of the powers. If you limit it, a lot of things are going to shut down. I can make this prediction too. Surface level. I need to look at my notes and stop trying to go off the top of my head. Is that there's going to be some major shifts in the market, and I said that multiple times during this video. I am talking about your grocery stores. So, oh God, I wish I could. I need to really tighten up the kitchen, because I do believe that the prices will considerably go up again. They're going to leap up on us, and this is because it's basically the people versus the government. Well, it's not in the favor of the people. And the markets that we frequent, we don't frequent the stock markets. We frequent the grocery store market. So the market and gas and different things like that, the value is going to, the prices are going to increase. The cost of living is about to increase considerably in the month of September. Not only that, remember, the powers will be bending our arms. There will continue to be these mandating, we already see it coming, we already know it, of the VIA. No, not the VIA, the vax. Things like that. They are, oh man. No, next one. I'm going to read my notes in the next one, okay? So it's going to be those kind of things. Anything that they can do to force you to do what they need you to do, they're going to be forcing you. I'm trying to think of some examples off the top of my head. I'm not going to read my notes. That's for the next part. The next part is a part 5. It's going to be called 5.2. 5.2. That's going to be the difference. Point. Because it's a continuation with this one. Other predictions, again, the market is going to soar in their favor. Again, there are very particular, specific stocks to look at and commodities to focus on, and it's not the ones that everybody are talking about. And it is related to what? R. Kelly and the Milk Crate Challenge, as well as, it was one other thing, but I can't remember. Another thing that I suggested that you invest in, if you can, is oil, any natural oil. We know crude oil, of course, and that's high, probably. The barrels are high, probably out of the range of most people. But I'm not just talking about crude oil. I'm talking about any naturally pressed, unprocessed oils, like even olive oil. You can invest in that. And the next thing is wine. As long as the wine hasn't gone through, I'm talking about naturally fermented wine. Fermented wine. You can invest in that. Other than that, that's all I think for this chart. If I left anything out, I will add it to 5.2. Until next time. Bye. And remember, if you're ever interested in ordering your own personal tarot reading, you can do so by contacting me by email.